Welcome back. This is Lesson 15, Introduction to Expressions. So to start us off, I'm going to give you kind of an open-ended activity to do. You're going to have a copy of this assignment, and I want you to take the cards on the sides of the chart, and I want you to put them into groups. You can make 4 groups, you can make 3 groups, you can make 2 groups, but I want you to be able to not only just sort them, but also explain the groups that you made. Give me some describing words, why you put those terms in one group and other terms in a different group. And now, once you do that, you can come back and we'll watch the rest of the video. All right, so now we have a lot of vocabulary for this unit, so it's going to be really important that you know these words, you know how to find these terms when we're talking about expressions. And also on your unit page, there will be a video that may help, and you may want to watch that to review some of the vocabulary on this list. So the first one is a polynomial. A polynomial is an expression which consists of one or more terms. So again, an expression, all those things that you sorted were expressions. There were no equal signs, which would make them an equation. So a polynomial is one or more of those things put together. Standard form of a polynomial, I'm going to write an example of down here. The standard form, they have to go in a certain order, and you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going to write an example down here. 3x cubed, this is a polynomial, plus 2x squared minus 1/2 x minus 0.3. That is in standard form. Standard form has terms placed in descending order from the largest exponent to smallest exponent. So this is the largest exponent, the 3, goes down to a 2. If there's no exponent there, there's obviously a hidden little 1 there. And then a constant like this guy has no variable and no exponent. It goes at the end. The degree of this polynomial is the highest exponent. So the degree of this polynomial would be 3. The leading coefficient, we talked about coefficients already, the coefficient of the first term when written in standard form. So numbers that are in front of letters or variables are coefficients. We're talking about the leading one, the one in the lead, would be this guy in the front because it is written in standard form. This is my leading coefficient. The degree of this polynomial, big arrow way over here, is also 3 because it's the highest exponent. Terms. Terms are a number, a variable, or a product of numbers and variables, and they are separated by adding or subtraction signs. So in this polynomial, I have 1 term, there's a plus sign, 2 terms, there's a minus sign, 3 terms, another minus sign, and 4 terms. So this example has 4 terms. And we have also talked about like terms very similarly that we talked about like radicals. Like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. And in this case, there are none. But if I had an example such as like 4x squared and like negative 3x squared, those would be like terms because the variable, the x, and the exponent squared are exactly the same. So it doesn't matter about the coefficient, but it matters that they have the same variable and the same exponent. So I'm going to just circle those real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Same variable and the same exponent. Same variable and the same exponent, like terms. All right, there's another example visually on the next page, and then we're going to do just a couple problems talking about like terms and coefficients and constants. I'll pause the video if you need to copy any of this down. Okay, so let's look to the back of this page again. A little example, if you were in class, this might be hanging up on our wall. Exponent is the little number above the x. Constant is a number all by itself. It doesn't have a variable or an exponent. Coefficient is the number in front of a variable. Variable means letter. Okay, so now we're going to identify the terms, the like terms, the coefficients, and the constants in each expression. And again, if you need to go back and flip and look at the definitions, that's fine. Terms, anything that is separated by a plus or a minus sign. So there are 3 terms in this expression. 4e is 1. I'm going to put commas in between. 7e is the second one. And 5 is the third one. Are there like terms? Are there terms that have the same variable and the same exponent? Yes, there are. 4e is alike with 7e. So those are like terms. Coefficients. Coefficients, numbers in front of variables or in front of letters. So the numbers in front of those variables are 4 and positive 7. And then finally, constants. Constants are numbers all by themselves, no variables, and the constant in this expression is 5. Be sure you have all those down. And if you need to go back and look at the definitions, go back and look at the definitions. We have one more to try, and then we'll be ready for class. Okay, so one more time, another example, 5a plus 2 minus 7. We have, again, it looks like 3 terms. Again, we're looking for separation with these plus and minus signs. So I have 3 different things. I have 5a as the first term, 2 is the second term, and this time it's not going to be 7, it's going to be negative 7. And that's an important part. So like, even though I'm seeing this as 2, technically that plus sign is there, and technically it's a positive 2. So when I group my terms, I'm going to circle and include the sign with that term. So in this case, it's a positive 2, and in the 7's case, it's a negative 7. Like terms. What things are alike? What things could I add together? Since 5a, there is no other term that has an a in it, but 2 and 7, negative 7 can be added together. So I'm going to consider those like terms. Those are things I can add together if I need to simplify my expression. Okay. Coefficients, remember coefficients, co-workers, they only work with variables. So my coefficient is just going to be 5 in this example, the only number that goes along with a variable. And then constants. Constants, again, constantly, they represent the same value constantly. So 2 is going to remain constant. It will always remain to be the value of 2. And negative 7 also is a constant. It will always be negative 7. Remember, we call a letter A variables because it may vary depending on what number will be evaluated for. So if I do 5 times 1, this expression would equal 5. If I do 5 times 2, this expression would equal 10. So it varies depending on the number. However, a number like 2 is a constant because there's no variable to change the value of it. I hope that makes sense. Again, you may want to watch the video on the main page of the unit to, again, get a refresh of the vocabulary words. But we're going to be using them a lot, so you've got to make sure you know what they are. All right, see you soon.